So, speaking of devs that have reached out to me to check out their games, and I wanted to check out the demo first before accepting a stream key, just to make sure that it's a good mesh. Based off of the description of the game, I think we should be fine. But yeah, let's go. Let me see if I can find it. I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head, unfortunately. Let's see. Heroes Odyssey is what it's called. I think they reached out to me shortly after I had just played Hades. It's like, oh, this is really relevant right now. Oh, it doesn't. It says it's coming soon still, so the full game isn't out yet. This is definitely more visual novel. It also has comedy, so definitely an opposite side of things from what we just played. Don't know how long the demo will be. We'll find out. But yeah, struck by lightning, reborn in a world of gods and ancient secrets, embark on a quest and shape your destiny in this Isekai'd visual novel inspired by ancient Greece. Bond with your companions, uncover divine secrets, and make choices that will define your story. And this also is available natively for Mac, so that's cool. But is the ancient Greek trait of gay included? I don't know yet. I don't recall. I think it might have been mentioned. Oh, my mouth was agape. Oh, it said voices, though, so I guess some of this will be voice acted, so that's cool. Music, anyway? Yeah. I'm not hearing any sound effects. The sound effects might be borked. Cool, though. Let's start this out. Heroes Odyssey. Let's get Isekai'd, baby! Me when I get Isekai'd. Enter a realm where gods and nightmares conspire. Monstrous horrors thirst for mortal blood. Me when I thirst for mortal blood. This journey is not for children or the faint of heart. Anxiety and depression may be magnified by the terrors within. Let me double check the settings. Text. Fast. You can make the font size bigger. That's cool. I love accessibility things like that. Cool. Anyways. Certain minigames contain visual effects that may not be suitable for individuals with epilepsy or other photosensitive conditions. The terrors without are already prevalent were fine, so true. By playing Heroes Odyssey, you confirm you're at least 13 years old and accept the possibility of confronting truly unsettling content and your own grim fate. If you are watching my stream, you better be 18. Like, I am a mature streamer. I'm not for the children. 16 plus, if you should be fine, but like, don't tell me you're 16. If you're 16, keep your trap shut. I don't need to know that. Maybe tell your parents that you're watching me, though, because I ain't a guardian. But preferably 18 plus only in my chat. Anyways. Yes. You're 69,420 years old. Sure, buddy. The weather was ugly, as it always was on this day of the year. Heavy rain fell from the dark clouds, which covered even the tiniest scrap of the sky. The headlights of passing cars were reflecting off the wet asphalt. Sora, Kingdom Hearts type shit. Anyways, always the same. The wind-tossed trees had already lost half of their leaves, which now leapt and danced above the sidewalks, and ever-hurrying passers-by clutching their umbrellas. Even I clutched my umbrellas. Colorful lightning bolts frequently streaked across the sky, their long branching shapes striking fear. With each thunderclap, the sound grew closer and closer. The sound of fire truck sirens echoed through the streets, stopping curious onlookers who, as they turned to look, tried to guess where an accident had occurred. Wow, my brain is... It was the first time I had the chance to observe such a gloomy day from above, from the roof of the university I attended. Taking advantage of the break before the last class, I decided to spend it here, hidden from others, yet able to see everyone around me. I watched the other students, some walking home and some rushing toward their cars, with bags and backpacks shielding their heads as if afraid the rain might melt them. I saw groups of friends and couples strolling through the park, their wet hands clasped together between two umbrellas. I never carried an umbrella. I wasn't afraid of the rain. Besides, that way, I didn't have to worry about the winch trying to snag it away from me. I simply kept walking toward my destination, and once I got there, I waited until my clothes dried up. Not really an inconvenience for me. Ha! I'm not made of sugar. At times, I was met with curious glances and prying comments, asking if I seriously couldn't afford the luxury of an umbrella. I never paid them any mind. Perhaps 5 years ago, I might have been bothered by someone mocking me, but now I couldn't care less. No matter what others said, it was meaningless to me. Nothing was the same after the tragedy that befell me. I never thought I'd have to face the death of someone so close to me. I remember stopping hanging out with my friends and completely neglecting my classes, which caused my grades to plummet. It's a miracle I even managed to get into a college. However, thanks to the help of others, I started working on myself. Some might think I'm a depressed melancholic. That seems a little redundant, but that's okay. But it's weather like this that puts me in such a mood. I was usually a pretty cheerful person, at least tried to be for the past 2 years. Not to mention, today marks the anniversary of the tragedy I mentioned. The anniversary of death. Someone once told me that rain falls when God cries. I laughed in their face, telling them that God isn't real. Clearly, it rains when the Hydra Dragon is crying. But when I realized that every year on the same day, a downpour hits the city, I began to wonder if there wasn't at least a little bit of truth to it. Such an unforeseen death of such a good person would surely sadden even God. I walked up to the railing at the edge of the roof, hoping to stay unnoticed by the college staff. I clutched it and looked down at the stairs leading to the main entrance, located directly below me. When Hydra Dragon drops his ice cream. No. Tear after tear fell down my already wet face. Cold gusts of wind made me start feeling the chill outside. If you were here, redacted. Cool effect for the redacted though, since it's just scrolling through different symbols and numbers, mostly ones and zeros. I bet you tell me a thing or two about how I'm acting right now. You tell me how much of a dumbass I am, standing this close to the barrier. Especially when the ground's so wet and slippery. Wouldn't it be weird if I just fell? Even though it's been 5 years since I last saw you, I still knew exactly what you'd say to me right now. I know what you're thinking. Calm down, go back inside and stop with this moody crap. Fuck. Honestly, I just want to know how you're doing. I raised my head to the sky and closed my eyes. I took a deep breath, letting the cold air fill my throat until I felt the chill scratch on my larynx. I fucked up that word, but that's okay. I exhaled, repeating this a few more times. That was my meditation, my way of reaching out to my memories. I remembered a scene from many years ago, my first attempt at cooking. It was back in elementary school. Redacted and I went on a trip that included cooking classes. We had to make a tamagoyaki, which shouldn't have been a problem for kids our age. However, it proved to be quite a challenge for me. Not only did I burn my omelet, but also salted it so badly that it was impossible to even try. Redacted noticed me struggling, so he invited me to his station. Ooh. Is this gay? Let's go. Together, we managed to fry the best tamagoyaki in our group. I also remember the time we went skiing together. Redacted, even though he already knew how to ski, spent his whole day teaching me how to do it. Gay egg cooking, yeah. We had an instructor, but he insisted on teaching me himself because he knew what worked best for me. As it turned out, he was right. I caught on quickly, and the very next day we were racing each other down the hill. But my favorite memory of all was playing heroes and villains. Redacted and I used to go to the nearby playground where we'd put on a real show for the kids from the neighborhood. That's cute. We'd throw on towels, swiped from home, wearing them like capes. And then we'd become real anime heroes. We'd grab our toy swords and battle to the death. I always got to be the superhero. Not that I ever complained. I wondered, though, why Redacted never minded being the villain. I figured he just knew that I didn't want to be one. Our fight scenes must have been really spectacular, because all the neighborhood kids would gather at the playground just to watch us. Sadly, bad things always seem to happen to good people. It felt as if some evil being had infected my mind. An alien memory appeared in my mind, one that had no right being there. I'd seen it often before, But I knew it was nothing more than a trick of my mind. 2 bright headlights. That image flashed before my eyes every now and then. I knew it wasn't real, but each time it appeared, it felt less and less foreign. Suddenly, there was a loud crack. Huh? A bright flash lit up the sky, followed by a deafening boom. I looked ahead and saw a tree in the park across from me go up in flames. But the pouring rain snuffed it out just as quickly. What a strange coincidence. Spending a thunderstorm on the university's open roof probably wasn't the smartest of ideas. I felt my heart race as I remembered once more what day it was today. A day without the person I won the best tamagoyaki contest with. The one I raced down ski slopes with. And the one who was my superhero. The feeling of longing rushed back to me. A sharp pain invaded my chest, and a helpless groan escaped my lips. I swallowed a huge lump in my throat. I miss you. I miss you so much wherever you are. Give me a sign. Can you hear me? Give me a sign if you can. I then felt my hair slowly lifting upwards toward the sky. I couldn't believe it. Was this the sign I was waiting for? Tears still running down my cheeks, I smiled to myself and thanked aloud. I felt fulfilled. I could finally go back inside. When I turned on my heel, ready to rush toward the door leading to the door floor of the building, a flash blinded me for an instant. I don't fully remember what happened next, but just a moment later there was a loud crack, loud enough that I could have sworn my ears had started to bleed. I lost my footing and fell to the ground with a loud thud. Unable to catch my breath, I alternated between trying to open my eyes and making a sound. No dice. All that was left for me was to beg for help in my thoughts. Then I heard it once again. The familiar voice, calling my name. Dot. 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 Ow. The text box color changed. I let out a soft groan. I felt a stinging pain at the back of my head, but I couldn't even muster enough strength to rub it. Nor could I open my eyes, let alone move any of my limbs. Our game will contain various minigames. The minigame is about to begin. Hit the circle at just the right moment, huh? Good luck. Oh, I see. I tried raising my arm, but my body didn't listen to me. Hopefully I wasn't paralyzed or something. In the distance, the squawking of seagulls could be heard. Be one of seagulls that are squawking. Where am I? I heard an incomprehensible mumble escape my lips. I was trying my best to recall the last thing that had happened to me. QuickTime events in a visual novel? I mean, Somnium Files. That's all. I remember standing on the roof of my university. The weather was horrible, and it only got worse after that damn storm. Then a bright flash blinded me, followed by a thunderclap so loud it nearly ruptured my eardrums. Ellipsis. I couldn't remember what happened after that. Judging by the surrounding sounds, I guess I'm no longer in the city. In the suburbs, maybe? Ah.
Hey, you!
Me when hey you.
Can you hear me?
Maybe. A masculine voice was calling out in the distance. Unable to open my eyes, I could only assume I was the one he was calling out to. I heard footsteps a moment later, the sound of bare feet shuffling along sand. The man walked up and stood right by my head. I could hear his shallow breathing. He must have been casting a shadow over my body, because I immediately felt comforted, and my skin, which had just been burning up, could now breathe a sigh of relief from the sun. How strange. Such scorching sun in late autumn? I could have sworn it was raining just a moment ago.
Everything all right?
Maybe.
You look pretty worn out. Taking care of a stranger. Oh, just what I wanted.
Well, you don't have to sound that enthused about it. I mustered enough energy to slowly raise my left and then right eyelid. My vision was still blurring. Even though my eyes were playing tricks on me, I could tell I was on a bleach? Yep, totally 100% on a bleach. Because that's the thing that you can be on. Bleaches. Duh. If anyone tries to tell you otherwise, they're lying. Me when I'm on the bleached side. My brain was still sluggish, so it took me a moment to recall that the nearest beach to my city was in... I didn't even know where.
Oh, you're alive.
Maybe.
What a surprise.
I know. I let out a quiet groan and closed my eyes. The bright color's too much for me to handle. I tried to wake up my overheated brain, asking it where I was and why, though it proved to be harder than expected. I could only remember fragments of what had happened. At that moment, I couldn't tell whether my morning on the rooftop had been a dream, or if I was in one now. Fuck. My head. I started rubbing my temples. My fingers brushed against tiny grains stuck in my hair. Either my dandruff had come back with vengeance, or it was lying in sand. I wasn't sure which scenario was more likely. As my strength slowly returned, a sudden wave of panic surged through me. Cold sweat trickled down my back and face, on my face and back, which I guess is still technically correct. However, I placed my hands at my sides and took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled. Bless whoever invented meditation.
Are you dead?
Maybe.
Hello? Seriously?
Oh, okay. I swear, if you had too much wine or smoked too many herbs, I'm going to strangle you with my bare hands. The stranger seemed to be slowly getting frustrated with my silence. I waited a moment longer before mustering the rest of my strength to rise off the ground. My vision was still playing tricks on me, blurring even more, probably due to how quickly I had gotten up from the ground. Even so, I could still make out that the mysterious man standing before me was practically, if not completely, naked. A boy! My vision was still unfocused, though I could clearly tell that his legs were hairy, almost unnaturally so, and he was wearing a strange pair of shoes, almost looking like hooves. Me when I wear shoes that look like hooves. When I saw his face, my heart skipped a beat. Ah, the man wore a truly lifelike mask with horns and elongated, almost elf-like ears. He looked like a member of some cult. You know what? That's a fair conclusion to come to. Only after a few moments was I able to regain my sight, so I took another look at him in frozen disbelief. His hairy legs weren't just excessively hairy, they looked like they belonged to a goat. His shoes looked more like real hooves, and the mask seemed to be his actual face. At that moment, the stranger no longer seemed like a cult member, and instead he started to resemble the devil himself. I let out a booming, uncontrollable scream, which startled the demon, making it recoil to the side and snarl at me. Who? What? What are you? For you, I can be whoever you want. I noticed the glint in his eyes. But those eyes have lured more than one person in. It wasn't comforting in the slightest. Gay, 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 so true. Not comforting at all. I felt goosebumps slowly appearing on my skin. I was frozen like a statue, only able to stare at him in horror. He was meeting my gaze, looking at me with curiosity. He brushed his dark, wavy hair back with his hand, then grabbed his goatee. I have to admit, in hell, from where he probably came, he must have been a model. Demon! Okay, now you've gone too far. Do I look like someone who takes pleasure in torturing human souls? Yes! Correct. Huh? Relax, I'm just messing with you. It's so funny. For your information, just because something has horns and hooves doesn't mean it's a demon. I wish someone would shout when they see a demon. Ah, a satyr. Because that's exactly what I am, a satyr. Ugh. Always the same.
My name is Callius.
Nice to meet you, Callius. Was it all just a dream? Yeah. It must have been a stupid dream. Because how else could you explain the presence of a demonic goat? Things like that only happen on TV. So, he does enjoy causing pain. Ergo, a sadist. You and your puns. Creatures like that have no place in the real world. Oh, come on, Sora. Don't be like that. Though, if this was all some elaborate prank, they really went all out with the special effects. At least I kind of ended up in some psychological horror instead. Yeah, that was the previous game we were playing. I glanced around, saw a multitude of rocks and a vast sea that stretched out, disappearing over the horizon. I then looked up. The sun was shining so brightly, its glare almost blinding me. I thought to myself that I'd wake up at any moment now. The dream was different from the rest. It was so realistic I could feel the scorching sand beneath my feet, the hot sun on my skin, the breeze and the salty water droplets on my face. Callias, the man standing before me, looked as real as they come. I couldn't stop myself when I touched his stomach. I was surprised by how real the touch felt, and even the scent of his fur and oils. I looked up, meeting Callias's gaze, his arms crossed and his horned head swaying from side to side. Gulping nervously, I took a step back.
You flatter me, but how about you introduce yourself first?
Forgive me, I just wanted to make sure this isn't a dream. It's just a dream. A dream? I assure you, boy, this is no dream. I'm very sorry. Alright, no big deal. What are you even doing here? And where are other humans? I bit my tongue before finishing my question. I didn't want to be reprimanded again, so I quickly corrected myself. Citizens.
Easy there.
Calm down, we're not the only ones here. It's a very well-hidden beach. Hardly anyone knows about it. I stumbled across it purely by chance after getting lost on the trail. So you're very lucky that I decided to show up here today. Lucky? Ellipsis. Judgmental ellipsis. Where even am I?
Where? On a Greek island called Demathea. That's where.
Huh? A Greek island? Hold on. A goat man? A Greek island? Did I just wake up in a mythological world? I was starting to regret that my knowledge of myths was limited to what we covered in literature class. At least the major I chose didn't turn out to be such a bad idea. Who would have thought that European literature would come in handy one day? Though now that I think about it, I think I'd still prefer the psychological horror. Whatever. I wonder how Callias would react if I told him he's just a fictional character. Ask about mythology or skip the topic? Let's ask about mythology, fuck it. You said a Greek island, like the ones in mythology?
What?
Mythology? Callias seemed genuinely taken aback by my question, almost as if I asked him which modeling agency he worked for. I felt more and more self-conscious with each word I spoke. You know, the collection of myths about Greek gods, demigods, satyrs, and all that. He looked deep in thought. He squinted his eyes, sunshine lighting up his face. Zeus, Aphrodite, Hades, Dionysus.
Enough!
Okay. I stopped immediately, widening my eyes. Callias seemed furious. Had I done something to anger him once more? I gulped and tried to force out an apology, but it came out so faint that he didn't even seem to hear it. Callias stomped his foot and took a menacing step toward me. I was afraid that my adventure might end prematurely.
You're pushing your luck.
Are you seriously trying to test the limits of my patience? Or are you perhaps hoping to prove to me that my kind is not as smart as it might seem? Checking if I'm foolish enough to believe your every word. If you have something to say to me, then... No. Excuse me for saying all that. I never even dream of belittling you. It's just where I come from, this world is only a fantasy.
What?
A fantasy? You're still going with this. No, I'm so sorry. Where are you even from? Japan. Never heard of that village. Sounds exotic. Excuse me? Did I hear him correctly? I don't understand if someone didn't know where my country was, but mistaking it for a village? That sounded like he was just trying to get under my skin. It sounds so isolated from the outside world. No wonder it's hard for you to believe in such an advanced civilization as ours. Seriously. Alright, I've probably heard that one. Tell me, Callius, what exactly am I doing here? I should ask you the same thing. And then there was an awkward silence. I perfectly understood what he was trying to imply. I was prepared to go back to my uni's roof and simply head to my Gothic literature classes, where we discussed interesting novels. Callius must have noticed how embarrassed his blatant dislike of me had made me, because he eased up a bit and no longer sounded like an asshole. Looks like the sea has washed you up on the shore.
How strange.
How curious. No wonder he was so rude. He probably got so many compliments about his looks that his ego inflated like a balloon. I had this one friend back in elementary. The compliments from her classmates really messed up her head. One day, she flat out told me that I was too average to be her friend anymore. Oof. That stung. What was that?
Forget it. Unless...
There's one more explanation, though it seems even less likely. What's that? Before I arrived at the beach, I saw a single lightning bolt across the sky. Or at least, I thought I did. I think it struck somewhere around here. Now that I think about it, it might have hit this very spot we're standing on right now. And I wasn't sure if I understood him correctly, but I believe Callius was suggesting that the lightning bolt could have brought me here to this beach. That theory shouldn't have surprised me, all things considered. After all, I was currently shooting the breeze with an unmannered half-man, half-goat. I wasn't sure about how much time I've spent on the island, but I was pretty sure I wasn't just washed ashore by the sea. My clothes should have been at least a bit damp, but I didn't feel anything sticking to my body, not even my briefs. Not to mention that I probably would have jumped before washing up on the shore. I didn't think I'd been lying on the beach for too long either. If I had, the scorching sun surely would have made its mark on me. I didn't have any sunburns, not even reddened skinned. No sign of a heat stroke-induced headache either. Callius stood in front of me in silence, probably checking if I'm smart enough to catch his hint about the lightning bolt. Or maybe he didn't want to say it out loud, knowing how outlandish it sounded. I decided to show him that I'm not just some clueless nobody. OMG, that would totally make sense.
Huh?
OMG? I forgot you probably don't know what slang is. Slang? OMG is a short way of saying, oh my god. It was funny seeing how the tables had turned. Now the satyr was the one who was confused.
You're not making much sense.
I don't understand. Which god are you referring to? You know what, Callius? Never mind. Your village speaks a strange dialect. Lightning bolt, you said?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a bizarre occurrence. I thought I was seeing things at first. But there's not a single cloud in the sky. How could... Exactly. If the lightning didn't strike from a cloud, but from an open sky, then that means... Callius suddenly pressed a finger to his lips and pointed to a nearby bush that was swaying unnaturally. Me when I'm a bush that's swaying unnaturally. I watched as he assumed a combat stance. He lowered his head. He lowered his head, showing off his horns like a moose or ram would, and impatiently stomped his hoof on the sand. There we go. Goose Zeus, so true. He motioned for me to hide behind him. I wasn't sure if he was just playing the hero or if he genuinely wanted to protect me, but I obeyed him anyway.
You thought I wouldn't notice you? Who are you? Show yourself at once.
Whoa. I watched as Callius tried to act all dangerous and intimidating. He looked downright ridiculous. Even adorable in his own way. Like an angry goat. I was hoping he could at least fight.
Enough!
Get out, now! Show yourself, or else I'll dive in there myself and give you what for. All of a sudden, a figure clad in a green robe leapt out of the bush. I could swear it froze in midair for a brief moment, suspended high above us. I barely had time to process, the stranger jumping between me and Callius, separating us. They pulled out 2 razor-sharp daggers, pointing them at us. Instinctively, I jumped back, almost tripping over myself in the process. I was hoping that whoever this person was wouldn't think I was trying to attack them. Raising my hands above my head in a gesture of surrender, I tried to look the attacker in the eyes. They had a long green hood on their head. I couldn't see their whole face, but from the shape of their small and elegant nose, full lips and delicate jawline, I could easily tell that they were a woman. You are assuming someone's gender. Bad Sora. Don't do that. Just the sight of her long reddish hair peeking out from under the hood gave away quite a lot. What is happening? Who are you?
You're pushing your luck.
I advise you, put down your weapons or you'll regret it. Sora looks so pathetic. The woman let out a quiet laugh and leapt high into the air, using only her legs. She spun above me and gracefully landed right behind my back. She seized my wrists and yanked me closer, pressing one dagger to my neck while keeping her other aimed at Callius. I felt two medium-sized pillows pressing into my back. The woman pulled me even closer, clearly not wanting to let me go. It was the first time I'd felt a woman's breast against me, though not quite the way I'd imagined. The blade scraped my neck, snapping me back to reality. My eyes opened in terror. Beads of sweat rolled down my forehead. Maybe from the stifling heat, or maybe from the thought of my impending death. You're pathetic. I like that in a man. It was hard to say at the time. Huh? This has to be a joke, right? I just woke up and somebody's already trying to kill me? What in the fuck is going on?
Shut up.
Yeah. Huh? Don't tell me what to...
Don't forget who's holding the knife here.
Yeah. Good point, good point. Fair point.
Who are you two and what are you doing here?
Oh my god, the voices are so quiet, which is annoying because, like, the settings, it's at max. If I turn these down a bit again.
We were just getting around to figuring that out ourselves.
How about you tell us your purpose here? How did you find the way to this hidden beach? I saw a lightning bolt. Again with that lightning bolt. I followed it and ended up finding you. So the lightning wasn't just a figment of Callius' imagination. Could it really have been what brought me to this world? I guess it would make sense, considering it struck me back then on the roof. The more I learned, the less I liked this dream. I wish I could just wake up already.
Stop this!
Let the boy go. Killing him would be pointless. He doesn't even know where he is. No need to dirty your hands. He won't make it past the first trial he stumbles onto anyway. Excuse me? I'm sure we could work something out. The woman stayed silent for a moment, as if she were actually considering Callius' words. Just as I was about to lose all hope of getting out of this alive, I suddenly felt her hand press against my back, shoving me forward with all her strength. I flew straight ahead, landing face first into Callius' stomach. He rolled his eyes and grabbed my shoulders, turning me around. It was so embarrassing. Thank you for sparing my life, ma'am. You said you saw the lightning bolt? I've seen it too, but honestly, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. And that's why I had to make sure. The woman sheathed her blades and removed her cloak with hood, revealing thick, long hair tied in a bun. At last, I could look into her eyes. I froze, noticing a long scar running across one of them. It looked painful. I glanced at Callius, who was also staring at her with intrigue. She must have noticed our curiosity, because her cheeks quickly flushed. She averted her gaze and sighed.
Well, well.
Me when well, I don't know.
A female assassin.
An assassin? There was something captivating about her appearance. If not for the intimidating scar, her smooth, youthful skin would make her look like a beautiful and seemingly innocent girl. And it was chilling to imagine the kind of fight she must have endured to earn a mark like that. Why can't I read? The scar didn't look like it was made by a blade or the hand of a man. Could it be the result of a bout with some wild creature? An animal, or maybe...
Problem with that?
Easy there.
Don't get me wrong. I admire women who aren't scared to fight. Wait a second. Why did you need to make sure the lightning bolt was real? What's so special about lightning bolts anyway? A bolt from an open sky is not exactly a common sight, even here. Not even here.
It usually indicates the presence of the Father of Gods.
father of gods? You mean Zeus?
Watch yourself.
Show some respect. What? Don't use his name. It's uncouth. Oh, that was... Don't use his name. It's uncouth. I am sorry. They didn't teach me about that in school. Too bad there wasn't a class on surviving in a mythological world. I came here as quickly as I could, but he wasn't here. Instead, I found you two.
I see.
Let's not be ridiculous, though. What would a god like him be doing in a place like this? That's what captured my interest.
Unless...
Callias gave me an uncertain look, as if to suggest that I could be the reason Zeus had chosen to come to this beach. I barely held back my laughter. Why on earth would it be me? Even in this mythical land, I was just an average Joe, nothing more than a face in the crowd.
Huh?
Unless what? The woman looked like she was about to draw her daggers and stab us out of sheer frustration. I glanced at Callias. Something about him felt off. Unless he just wanted to take a dip.
Huh?
Take a dip? What? Gods have human needs too. If you were one, wouldn't you want to swim like a mortal every now and then? And how do you know I'm not one? The woman's words were dripping with irony. Callias' odd comment about something really struck with me. At first, I thought he was generally talking about me being the reason Zeus came here. An assassin god? Please, that doesn't fit at all. The woman mumbled something under her breath, which, judging by her expression, wasn't anything pleasant. Hey, calm down, both of you. We just managed to bury the hatchet. I felt a hand clutch my wrist. Callias leaned closer, his lips hovering next to my ear.
You better keep that mouth shut. If I told her Zeus is hurling bolts around this place because of you, I bet she'd cut you down before we could even blink.
I felt a surge of heat rush over me. So in the end, I wasn't wrong. Callias actually thought that Zeus came to this island because of me. I barely let you walk away with your life intact. I don't remember burning any sort of hatchets. And you, why do you keep insisting that this beach is so secret? Finding it among the trees is no small feat, you've got to admit that. No idea, I just used the road.
What?
A road? To my secret beach?
Again with this?
Please, just knock it off already. I looked around and spotted a narrow path winding through the forest, leading straight to where we were standing. It must have been hidden behind the master shrub where the assassin had been hiding. That would explain why I hadn't noticed it earlier. Oh yeah, I see it now. I usually approach this place from the other side. There's no convenient pathways for the... Callias cut off as the ground suddenly started to shake. I adopted a wide stance, bending my knees and throwing my arms out, hoping to just steady myself. I saw that technique in a movie once. Callias did the same. Meanwhile, the assassin crouched low, brushing aside the sand, and drove her daggers deep into the moist earth, gripping them tightly. Shit, what now? An earthquake? A sudden flash blinded us, my ears pierced by a horrendous screech. For a second I thought I'd been struck by lightning again, but when I opened my eyes, everything around me was the same. Everything except for the presence of another person. They stood there with a mocking smile on their face, arms crossed, looking down at me with an air of superiority. I turned to the others and saw them kneeling in the sand, their heads literally buried in it. They looked so ridiculous. I wish I could capture that sight on camera. If only I had my phone with me. I stared straight into the man's eyes. He inquisitively raised his brow and clenched his teeth. His shoulder-length hair was white as snow, matching his thick eyebrows and bushy beard. His face looked dignified. He wasn't old, but he couldn't have been younger than 40. He was just... Wait. He wasn't old, but he couldn't have been younger than 40? Blinks. Like, not that 40 is necessarily old, but like... Anyways. He was dressed in a long tunic adorned with gold elements, making it feel as if I were face to face with a king. A king? Oh my god. Literally. I immediately dropped to my knees and buried my head in the sand as well. My deduction skills were a bit slower than usual, but it finally clicked that the stranger wasn't just any stranger. He was Zeus himself. I was only hoping he wouldn't smite me where I was standing. Maybe I should sacrifice some of my dignity and kiss his feet just to be safe.
You flatter me. Keep going. Just a moment.
Ellipses.
All right. You can get up now.
We all obeyed. I brushed the sand off my knees and looked at the older man. I couldn't believe my eyes. Zeus, in the flesh. Holy fuck, Zeus. I wasn't sure if what I was seeing was real or if it was just some elaborate illusion. What brings you to us, my lord? Not what, but who? Zeus raised his index finger and pointed it at me. I widened my eyes, scratching my head in confusion as I tried to make sense of it. What? Me? You're really talking about me? That's right, you're smarter than you look.
Boy, I have a quest for you.
Me when I'm boy.
A quest for a true hero.
Uh-huh. A hero? Oh, forgive me, my lord, but I'm no... He raised his hand, silencing me in an instant. Cold sweat washed over me, my legs shaking like jelly.
Silence!
Do not interrupt me when I speak. I do not lower myself to converse with mortals, just to... I do not lower myself to converse with mortals, just to be ignored by them. I beg your forgiveness. You were summoned here, boy, to lead an army. By my side, of course.
My brother, Hades.
One of my brothers, Hades, the meeker, lesser-known one, has rebelled against me in our fair division of domains. And as a defiance, he has declared war on me, a war that will surely... I don't get it. What sort of reason could he possibly have to do that? If I remembered my lectures correctly, Hades liked hanging around in his underworld. Why did he suddenly want to abandon and declare war on Zeus? Didn't he just wake up one day and realize he didn't like his share after all? I can only think of one thing that would justify his rebellion.
How dare you!
What did I say about interrupting? I'm so sorry. I merely dropped to my knees and bowed before Zeus. The sand had already managed to get into every single crevice of my body, so at this point I didn't even care anymore. As punishment, you'll stay on your knees until I finish my story.
Listen closely.
Now, back to your question.
His reason was love.
So it was all about Persephone. According to the mythology, Persephone was Hades' wife, whom he kept in the underworld against her will. She was supposed to stay there for eternity at first, but her mother, Demeter, had managed to negotiate her release with the gods. Hades, afraid of losing his beloved, fed her a few pomegranate seeds before she could reach the surface, which bound Persephone to the underworld forever. Luckily, her mother had managed to reach a compromise, and according to the myths, that's how the 4 seasons came to be. Persephone was to spend 3 months with Hades each year, during which the trees shed their leaves and the soil became barren, symbolizing her mother's despair. That represented the second half of autumn and winter. In spring, summer, and the first part of autumn, Persephone would leave the underworld, and as her mother was happy to spend time with her daughter, nature would awaken to life once again. Thankfully, we were discussing the exact myth during one of our last literature classes. Thinking about it, it's hard to blame Hades for revolting against this whole arrangement. If I were in his shoes, only able to see my most beloved for 3 months each year, I'd also go mad and declare war on my brother. Of course, only if I were sure that winning would mean I could also see my love every day for the rest of my life. As you can see, not only mortals do foolish things for love.
Continuing.
Easy to say for someone who finds betrayal so effortless. At first, I thought it was just my brother's silly attempt at a joke. A simple need for some innocent rivalry between siblings. But he quickly showed me that the truth was quite different indeed. He started attacking the villages and taking the lives of mortals, poisoning the waters and bringing a plague into our wondrous land, one that consumes not only man, but all of nature. The trees shed their leaves and dry out to the bone, the grass loses all its color, and the animals that drink from the poisoned rivers and lakes begin mutating. Mutating? Like they do in horror and sci-fi flicks?
How tragic.
Day after day, the earth's being enveloped in deeper darkness. The villages on the island are gradually falling into ruin, its inhabitants dying in great agony. It seems that Hades is trying to create his own army of the undead, all the while attempting to steal from mine. Even I can't bear to watch this. And I certainly can't allow him to continue with it.
I won't stand idly by.
My brother took the first step, marching down the path of war. Now it's my turn to take the next step and bring it to an end.
There's just one little problem.
Is it me? Am I the problem? The problem? For the god above all gods? I don't think it was little in the slightest. All I know is that Hades found a powerful warrior, one he imbued with his power, one who is ready to bring him glory, or die trying.
Disgraceful.
His actions are unpredictable, disgraceful, and ruthless. It is he, wielding my brother's power in his hands, who spreads terror and havoc on the island. He is a formidable foe, but not formidable enough for us to be defeated by him. I know he won't stop until he achieves his objective and brings about one final battle.
That's why I need you, boy.
I lifted my gaze towards him, my knees still planted in the sand. His firm expression made it clear that the word no didn't exist in any dictionary he knew. Why was I the one chosen for this whole mission? Well, the first people I met on the island were a demon satyr and an assassin girl who would jump several meters into the air. Who could, not would. So why did Zeus need my help? The help of an ordinary man like me? Not that I'm complaining about the lack of willing warriors, but you. You have something that intrigues me. And get up already, I've finished my story. Terrified, I followed the order. I brushed the sand off my clothes and gently nodded. Forgive me, my lord.
Me, my wife, my children, and all of the mortals. We all place our hopes in you. So don't you dare disappoint us.
I can't do it, Zeus. I glanced at Callias and the woman, but finally at Zeus. They all looked so brave and full of resolve. And then there was me, just an ordinary person with no special talents and an unremarkable appearance. I knew I didn't belong in this world. Worse still, I feared my involvement in the war might cause more harm than good. I shot Zeus an apologetic look, silently pleading for him to understand. I'm afraid I can't. Zeus raised an eyebrow, his glare burning with anger. I felt a strange electric charge building in my body. I wasn't sure if it was from stress or if Zeus had something to do with it. I took a deep breath, but it did nothing to steady me. Something felt off. You should know by now, I don't take no for an answer. So I'll say it one more time.
We're all counting on you.
And I'll do a cute save. Because I want to fuck around and find out and refuse. Forgive me, my lord, but I must refuse. Are you telling me that you care nothing for the fate of mortals, let alone the gods? I really...
In that case, my boy.
Are we gonna get smited?
Your indifference leaves me no choice.
Zeus pointed a finger at me. At first I didn't understand what was happening. I saw Callias and the girl leap aside, terror in their eyes. Felt like my heart was about to explode. Oh, buddy. Still... Bam! Redacted. Dot. 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 I gasped for air, my eyes snapping open. What just happened? My heart hammered in my chest, my body trembling uncontrollably. Had it all been just a dream? I scanned the dimly lit room. What's going on? I was in a hospital room? I could hear the steady hum of the machines nearby, punctuated by the rapid beeping of the heart monitor attached to me. My ragged breathing was so loud, I only hoped I was alone in the room. Darkness blanketed the room, broken only by the moonlight spilling in through the window.
Huh?
Oh. I froze at the sound of an unfamiliar voice, my mind scrambling to place it. I tried lifting my hand, but my body refused to obey.
Easy there. Try not to move.
What happened to me? My mouth opened, but no sound came out.
My name is Dr. Myoga. We're currently at the hospital. I'm afraid I have some bad news to share with you.
My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I felt a sharp pain in my throat, as if I were swallowing 100 needles.
We've observed signs of a shutdown response in you.
Shutdown response? What did that even mean? Why the fuck couldn't I say anything?
University staff found you on the roof. We suspect you were struck by lightning during the storm 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks? But not even a day has passed since...
You've suffered a serious neurological injury, which resulted in the paralysis of the body. That's why you can move. Or speak.
What? What? What the fuck? This must be a joke, right? A fucking joke.
All you can move is your eyes. I'm sorry, kid.
I wanted to prove Dr. Miyoga wrong. I tried raising my hand, but it stayed still. My leg, again, no response. Fuck.
I know this is hard for you, but you need to calm down. Your heart is in a very poor condition. Hold on. I'll get you something that will help you relax.
I wanted to beg the doctor to stay, but I couldn't say a word. A strange fear gripped me. I didn't want to be left alone in this dark room. Something was watching me, I just knew it. I lurked in the corner, waiting for us to be alone. As soon as Dr. Miyoga left the room, I saw a pair of glowing eyes. An empty gaze fixed directly on me, making my chest feel like it was collapsing. I waited for the cardiac monitor to shut off from overworking, and this abomination began crawling towards me. I could hear it. It was getting closer. I felt its presence right beneath me. The doctor still hadn't returned, and I was fighting for my life. Something started dripping onto my face from the ceiling. Something viscous, reeking of spoiled meat and rotten eggs. The slimy substance flooded my mouth, and I couldn't spit it out. As it made its way straight down my throat, I feared I might choke on my own vomit and die. I tried desperately to call for help, but not even a faint murmur escaped my lips. A drop of the thick liquid splattered against my nose. Curiosity urged me to look up, but fear held me back. No, I'm not looking. I shut my eyes and tried taking a deep breath. ... Redacted. Suddenly, I felt a violent impact against my chest. Something detached from the ceiling and fell onto me. I couldn't feel its weight, but from the sound it made, I knew it was really heavy. It stank unimaginably, like a corpse left in a hot, sealed room for weeks. My eyes snapped open and I saw it. The abomination with glowing eyes crushing my body, staring at me up close. I tried to shake it off, but I was fucking paralyzed. The monster opened its mouth, and the room filled with a horrendous, deafening noise, a cacophony of screams, howls, and desperate cries for help. As if someone had opened the gates to hell. Redacted. I didn't know what was worse, what the creature looked like, or what it was telling me. I reached out and touched my forehead. Images rushed through my mind in an instant. They weren't memories, more like visions. Visions from the past and the future. I felt a thick liquid gathering in the corner of my eyes. It wasn't tears. Bubbles started to form in my nose. My ears rang, like my eardrums were about to burst, and a metallic, bloody taste flooded my mouth. Was this hell? I watched these fleeting visions, not even realizing what they depicted. All I knew that such sights weren't meant for a mortal to see. The past, the future, alternate realities, worlds that shouldn't even exist. The creature pressed its finger to my forehead, driving its long, sharp nail into my skull. Redacted. ... Bye. Oh, all of these say bye. Wow. Can you correct your mistake? Yes or yes? Oh. The yes that I picked to close the game. Dude said he would prefer to be in a psychological horror. He got in one. Consider me invested. Oh. Whoa. Hang on. You guys need to see this. Where's the window? Bro. That's crazy. Oh, I love shit like this so much. The genre change, I know, right? Oh my god, I love this. Okay, let's... If I hit continue, can I load my save? Oh, no. Hitting continue does nothing. New game? Okay. That's crazy. Yeah, let's accept. You're right. I'll do whatever it takes. I won't go change the genre of the game again. I hope that sounded convincing. I had no idea what had just happened or how exactly I could help, but I was too afraid to ask any questions for fear that Zeus would punish me. Oh, he sure did punish you. I was already shitting bricks after I failed to recognize him. I'm glad you come around.
You have no idea how lucky you are.
Something told me I'd made the right choice. I started to think what might have happened if I...
Ah, I see you have already managed to recruit 2 companions.
Huh? Huh? Everyone's shocked. According to him, my companions were a goat and a nameless lady who was trying to slit my throat just mere moments ago. Oh, that's just great. Amazing, even. Callias and the assassin also looked deeply surprised, but they must have known what kind of consequences would follow if they refused Zeus's quest. Anyway, I thought the 3 of us could go our own separate ways. But now... I bet if we tried to split up, we'd experience firsthand what divine intervention really looks like.
Impressive!
Well, you're not slacking off. That's good, though you'll be needing more than just those 2. Find those who will fight by your side, those willing to give their life for the victory. Life? I didn't even know if I'd be willing to sacrifice my own life for some argument between 2 brothers who couldn't talk things out. I've always despised war. If they wanted to turn us into pawns, they should have played a game of chess instead. I wasn't able to understand why a simple conversation couldn't work.
Hero?
Form an army, win, and restore peace and order to this land. Simple, right?
Hurry up, before it's too late. The darkness will soon engulf the entire island, and then the others. I wish you luck, my hero. You'll be needing it.
Wait just a moment. Once again, a bright flash blinded me and my companions. At least he spared us from an earthquake this time. When we opened our eyes, he was already gone. I looked at Callias and the assassin to make sure I hadn't just dreamed up this whole event. They were both casting distressful glances at me. That wasn't just in my head, right? Our Lord really blessed us with his presence.
I don't get it.
It was real, but calling the boy a hero, there's gotta be some kind of mistake here. Me, a hero? It was hard to wrap my head around it all. I had just arrived on the Silent, and I already found myself taking on some suicidal mission. Surely you don't doubt our Lord Assassin. He's never wrong after all. Callias glanced at me, sized me up from head to toe, and his smile slowly started to fade. At least that's what they say. My face turned red. I knew I wasn't exactly the epitome of manliness. I didn't hit the gym. My only regular exercise was a morning dash to the bakery for some fresh bread. Fresh bread. But according to Zeus, I've got that something. Something that makes me a better pick than Callias, the assassin, and thousands of others under his command. Maybe I'm like a character in a video game who starts weak, but with some grinding and dedication becomes an unstoppable powerhouse. I'm supposed to follow the guy who almost swallowed himself when I gave him a little scare. You put a knife to my throat! I wouldn't call that a little scare. If you were this hero you're talking about, you would have gotten out of that situation on your own. But instead you waited for that goat to save you. Hey, watch it. If you can't even handle me, a mere mortal, how do you plan on to take the god of the underworld? I lowered my head. I wanted to snap back, but nothing came to mind. You could argue that Lord Zeus ordered him to build an army, not fight alone. You can't blame him for not handling you on his own. A general relies on his army. That's why he's a general, not just some grunt. I looked at Callias. He smiled at me, and I could feel my confidence creeping back. What a load of nonsense. I don't know about you, but I'm willing to give him a chance. I believe in our Lord's divine infallibility. If he chose the boy, then he must be the best choice. Thanks, Callias. I'm so glad you believe in me. Besides, after we save the world, they'll be writing ballads about us. Oh, my satyr buddies are gonna be so jealous. How? Fuck. You know what, fuck it, that's the ellipsis. Oh, I can already picture it. The Ballad of the Plain has trusty steed. How many times do I have to say, I'm not some animal? I turned toward the forest, holding back a smile. I'm not gonna lie, that title had a nice ring to it. You can joke all you want, but no, you don't have a choice. You won't have to join forces with us, unless you really want to piss off our lord. We got better chances of seeing this through together. 3 heads are better than 1 after all. 3 heads are also a bigger target than 1. The girl crossed her arms and slowly shook her head. Finally, though, she sighed, resigned. Alright, fine. Better to keep an eye on you. Who knows what stupid ideas you'll come up with. Great. We should probably introduce ourselves now. I'm getting a bit tired of calling you Assassin. I'm Callius. I'm Sora. And I don't feel like getting chummy with you. However, if it's really that important to you, you can call me Vespera. What's that supposed to mean? Is that your real name? Or did you make it up just so we'd shut up? What's the difference? Just be glad I gave you a name instead of dragging this topic on for no reason.
Forget it.
Alright. Callius, Vespera, their name sounded so very exotic. I bet they must think the same about mine, though. So, what do we do now? How are we supposed to find Hades? Callius glanced at me questioningly. I shrugged, having no ideas. So, you know this place better than I, so... I stopped mid-sentence, hearing a strange rustling coming from the forest. Something, or maybe someone, was making its way through the bushes at the edging of the forest, growing fainter with each step. Do you hear that too?
How strange.
Yup, and it doesn't sound like any animal. I'm guessing it's not one of your killer friends either. Callius looked at Vespera, who simply rolled her eyes with disdain. Don't be stupid. I don't have any friends in this line of work. In that case, looks like we have an uninvited guest. We glanced at each other, uncertain of what to do with the fact. If someone's been tailing us, we can't just let them slip away. We need to follow them. If they turn out to be a threat to our mission, eliminate them. What if that's exactly what they want? Maybe they're trying to lure us into an ambush? The rustling grew quieter, almost disappearing into the depths of the forest. Hard to call it an ambush if it really... Hard to call it an ambush if we're ready for it. Vespera moved slowly, heading toward the source of the sound. Well, can't say I'm not a little curious about the identity of our voyeur. Besides, we better stick together. I nodded and, with Callius, followed Vespera into the trees. Now we'll turn right.
Not bad.
Who would have thought those long ears of yours would come in handy? We slowly made our way through the forest, with Callius and his superior hearing leading the way. I tried to walk as lightly as possible, avoiding dry branches and leaves to keep our presence unnoticed. I wondered who exactly we'd encounter. After all, there was nothing to suggest this person had any hostile intentions. Maybe it was just some scared kid who saw a satyr and armed woman on the beach and panicked, running off into the forest. But the more I thought about it, the less I believed that. The figure moved slowly, paying no attention to noise, almost as if it wanted us to follow. Suddenly, Callius raised his hand, signaling us to stop. I don't hear any steps. Whoever our secret admirer is, they stopped just because... Whoever our secret admirer is, they stopped just behind these trees. Well then, time to settle this. Vespera's face hardened with determination, her fingers hovering over the hilts of her daggers, ready to draw them if her unwelcome guest turned aggressive. We carefully circled the trees and stepped into a small clearing.
Impossible.
What the... Oh. She's pretty. In the midst of the grass stood a young woman dressed in a snow-white flowing robe that rippled gently with each passing breeze. Her face was calm and serene, and despite her youthful appearance, there was an aura of wisdom about her, as though she knew the answers to all the mysteries of the world. She smiled gently at us and gestured for us to come closer. Who could she be? She looks almost like a priestess. Either way, she doesn't seem like she's going to attack us. In the trees around the clearing, but if someone's hiding there with a bow, just waiting for us to step into the open. I doubt it, but if you're somehow right... Vespera smiled shyly, then took a step forward. Then we can always use the woman as a hostage. We moved toward the seated woman, scanning the surroundings for any signs of an ambush. We found nothing suspicious. The woman remained calm, still gazing at us with those all-knowing eyes. We stopped a short distance from her, and she slowly raised her arms, spreading them wide.
Greetings, my dear ones. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you. Especially you, young man.
The woman clad in white fixed her gaze on me. I nervously swallowed, feeling a chill run down my spine. Me? It is you whom our Lord has chosen. Am I mistaken? The woman seemed to know more than she should. She must have overheard a conversation with Zeus. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Vespera's face twist into a grimace of displeasure. I just hoped she wouldn't charge at an unarmed person. The woman noticed Vespera's tense stance and smiled disarmingly at her.
No need to be wary of me. I am a servant of the gods, just like you.
Sure. Vespera scoffed under her breath, though I noticed she relaxed a little. You strive towards a noble goal. I'd like to help you achieve it.
I'm not following.
Well, that's fantastic and all, but where did you even come from? I followed the divine thunderbolts until they led me here, just like you. Months of wandering across seas, forests, and villages brought me to this shore. Months? I understand that you, too, had a difficult road to travel, but you did not falter, and in doing so, you proved your devotion to the gods. Well, I was actually nearby. Just a short walk and I was on the beach. Same for me. The corners of her lips suddenly dropped. She cleared her throat and forced a smile back onto her face. You haven't had the honor of proving your determination to our Lord. You must be quite envious of me now. Sure. You already know our names, but we don't know yours. It would be proper for you to introduce yourself. Of course, where are my manners?
You can call me Pythia. It's both my title and my name.
Hi, Pythia. Pythia. Callias raised his eyebrows, surprised. I nudged his shoulder. Who is this whole Pythia? I think I've heard of her before. I am only thinking of Hello Charlotte. The priestess of Apollo, with the ability to protect the future. They say that her words are the will of the gods, and her prophecies are known throughout the whole world. I knew she must be a priestess, but it never occurred to me that we could be dealing with Pythia herself. I'm glad to hear you've heard of me, though you must already understand that my prophecies are not mere guesses. Every word I speak finds its reflection in reality. Historically, she's the Oracle of Delphi. That doesn't drop the connection to Hello Charlie for my brainworms. Pythia looked at me, straightening up. Her smile faded, replaced by a serious expression.
Young man, as an emissary of the gods, a tough road lies ahead of you, full of obstacles and dead ends.
You will face trials that few mortals could survive. That's why you must remember your comrades, both those who are here now and those who will stand by your side in the future. A general must care for their army. However, you will need to find a balance between loyalty to your comrades and fulfilling the role destined for you. Satisfying everyone is impossible. It may turn out that you will need to focus on one person, the one who will become closest to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think so. Even though Pythia spoke in riddles, I managed to grasp the meaning of her words. Sooner or later, Sooner or later, I'll have to choose the person I trust the most. And the person will become my confidant, or perhaps something more. I glanced at Callias and Vespera, wondering who I would follow if I were forced to choose. I can't forget about those mysterious future companions too. Who knows which of them I'll trust the most? Yeah, I was just telling you that romantic routes are mutually exclusive. Yeah, basically. Because I'm pretty sure this is part dating sim, so... Very well. I could foresee your future with one of these people. Just one? Even prophecy I make demands my complete effort. If I attempted to craft more than one, the torment involved could drive me to madness. I nodded, regretting my question. Pythia had traveled for months to offer her help, and here I was, about to ask her for something she couldn't give. But polyamory! I also need an object that reflects this person. Without it, my ritual cannot proceed. Do not worry. Simple objects you can find on the beach or in the forest will suffice.
Now, come closer, young man.
I took a step forward, and suddenly a strong herbal aroma hit my nose, causing my head to spin. Before I could react, Pythia grabbed my hand. I felt a strange tingling that coursed through my entire body. Ah. Pythia closed her eyes and gripped my hand tighter, her nails digging into my skin. How curious. Her eyes opened and she let go of my hand. I stumbled backwards, barely managing to regain my balance. Are you alright, Sora? Yeah, she just scared me a bit is all.
In your future, I see 5 people you'll be able to grow closer to. I also know which item symbolizes each of them.
Amazing. Now, all that's left is for you to bring me one of those items. Oh, hi. I see. See, the thing is, Pythia, you know, but I don't. I'm inclined for the little animal skull head. Understood. Once you find it, bring it to me, alone. Wait, and what about us? You will have to wait. My prophecy can only be heard by the one I'm prophesizing to.
Whatever.
What a stupid rule. Pythia closed her eyes, considering the conversation over. We walked out toward the meadow and into the forest. Vespera's sighs were a clear sign that an argument was on the horizon. Are we seriously going to waste our precious time to search for junk? We should. You heard her. It's Pythia. They're envoys of the gods. Or at least that's what they think, at least. Vespera shook her head, clearly dismissing Pythia's prophecies as utter nonsense. Even if it's just baseless fortune-telling, it can't hurt to give it a shot. We should take all the help we can get. Exactly. It's not every day the most revered priestess in the land offers to tell you your future. Suit yourselves. I won't have to listen to the drivel. Callius clapped his hands, taking it as an agreement. He was incredibly excited, as if we were about to have the time of our lives.
All right.
Let's start the search then. Remind us, boy. What exactly were we supposed to be looking for? Wolf School. Are we seriously supposed to stumble through the forest and hunt the local wildlife? Hey, no one said anything about hunting a wolf. We just need to find its school. So a wolf that died of old age. Needle in a haystack. Vespera had a point, but I still preferred that over hunting a wolf. I wasn't one for harming animals, especially when we had a way to settle this without bloodshed. If I were an old wolf, I'd spend my golden years somewhere cozy and peaceful. Kalia stroked his beard, deep in thought. Then his eyes lit up and he raised a finger. I know where we could find a school. Not too far from here is a peak called Wolf's Hill. Fitting name, don't you think? Wolves used to rest there, drink from the nearby stream, and bask in the sun. Though, as far as I know, it's been years since anyone's seen them there. The schools of wolves that passed away peacefully should still be there. And that'd be a very convenient solution. But are you sure you remember the way? Of course! I used to go there all the time when I was younger, just to watch those graceful creatures. I know the way to Wolf's Hill like the back of my hand. You'll see. Grinning with enthusiasm, Callius took off through the trees, leaving us behind. I hope you do, for your own sake. After a short journey, one that involved doubling back a few times under Callius' excuse of taking in the sights, we finally arrived at Wolf's Hill, which turned out to be a small mound, barely any higher than the land around it. There, we found an old animal skull, bleached white by the sun. Callius picked it up and handed it to me with the grace of someone presenting a bouquet of roses. I took it carefully, shivering as my knuckles tapped against its hollow, hardened surface. Wasting no time, we made our way back to the edge of the clearing, this time with Vesperos serving as our navigator. Nervously holding the skull before me, I stepped away from my companions and onto the meadow, approaching Pythia. She looked up at the sound of my footsteps and gave me a soft smile. Here, the skull of a wolf. She took the skull, cradling it in both hands, then took a deep breath. Her pupils suddenly widened. The wolf's skull, the faded pride of a predator. Hidden among the forest shadows, beyond the sight of those who could not truly see. Wild by nature, untamed, cold, lifeless, yet serene, full of life, though silent, she still feels. Pythia's fingers sank into the hollow-eyed sockets, as if trying to glimpse something just beyond her vision. In her eyes, reflections of other worlds, other forms, not always human. She is afraid. Her heart longs for someone who understands, even as her mind tells her to flee. Like a lone wolf, separated from its pack, hungry and weary, yet fearful and watchful. Her body began to tremble, and her grip on the skull tightened. She edges closer to the fire, drawn to its warmth, its promise of safety, but one sudden movement, she vanishes into the dark once more. Perhaps one day, someone will come who can tame her wild heart, or who will let her run free. She opened her mouth, as if she wanted to say something, then her shoulders slumped, and she leaned forward. Terrified, I took a step closer, ready to catch her, but she raised her hand, stopping me.
It's okay. I'm fine now.
She shook her head and opened her eyes. They were hazy, as though she hadn't fully returned to the present. Her hands were trembling. Everything all right? Pythia looked directly at me, her face lighting up with an unnaturally wide smile.
Sometimes the truth is just part of the illusion.
Blech. Suddenly, I felt a soft pressure on the back of my neck, as though a cold hand had brushed my skin. My breath caught in my chest and my heart raced. I instantly turned around. There was no one here. It must have been the wind. I swear someone was standing behind. I turned to Pythia and furrowed my brows. The meadow was empty. What in the... I crouched down to the spot where I had just seen Pythia. The grass blade stood undisturbed, and there was no sign that anyone had been here before. A few moments later, I heard the steps of my companions. You were taking your sweet time, so we came to check on you, just in case...
What?
Wait, where's Pythia? She vanished into thin air. Vanished, you say? This is some trick, then. It's no trick. I shot back sharply, making Vespera raise an eyebrow. See for yourself. Not a trace of her remains. I stepped back, allowing Vespera to approach. She scanned the area, astonished. See, it's as if she was never here in the first place. She opened her mouth as if wanting to say something, but closed it a moment later, moving a few steps forward and examining something on the ground. A confident smirk appeared on her face. Yeah, you're right. She was never here. But what? She was just our delusion. Come here. Callias and I joined Vespera. In the tall grass lay a small pile of twisted, half-burned roots. That biting herbal scent hit me again, the one I had noticed earlier. Mandragora roots. Someone must have been partying hard in here. Callias turned to me, noticing the confused look on my face. An extremely potent hallucinogen. Some people, even satyrs, burn and inhale the fumes, which cause various hallucinations. Just like us hallucinating Pythia. But what? But how is it possible that all three of us saw and heard the same thing? Well, group hallucinations aren't exactly rare. This one was pretty unusual, but definitely not impossible. I can't believe it, but she looks surreal. I could even feel her touch. I looked at the hand Pythia had grabbed earlier, but I couldn't find any traces on it. It's all just an illusion. Let's leave already. This touch is giving me a headache. Callias and Vespera stood up and started walking away. Just an illusion? I stared at the pile of half-burned roots. I felt strange. Pythia, the woman I had just been talking to, didn't exist. She was just a figment of my imagination. A gust of wind shook the ash, which swirled through the air and flew right past my face. I noticed something white and irregularly shaped in the middle of the pile. I brushed aside the half-burned roots with my hand, ignoring the possibility that they might be poisonous. Ugh. Buried underneath the ash was a long, good animal fang, most likely belonging to a wolf. It was milky white, weathered by the sun.
Ahem.
Sora, what are you still doing there? Gotta move on. I struggled to tear my gaze away from the fang, and clenched my hand around it, but after a moment loosened my grip. The fang sank back into the ash, disappearing from my sight. Sometimes the truth is part of the illusion. I stood up, brushing the ash from my knees, and rushed after Callius and Vespero, who were leaving the meadow. We returned to the beach after a short trek through the forest.
Right.
What were we talking about earlier? Oh, right. How are we supposed to find Hades? The best starting point would be a journey to the nearby village of Elenus. Trade is thriving there, and the traveling caravans should prove to be a valuable source of information. Sounds like a good idea. Of course it is. After all, I'm the one who came up with it. Oh, okay. Kind of an abrupt end for that, but that's okay. That was fun, though. I'm gonna go ahead and plunk that into my wish list. That was enjoyable. I hope you guys also enjoyed that. I honestly really liked the get smited by Zeus ending, I'll be honest. Like, that was cool. That was sick as shit. Dude really went like, man, I wish I were a psychological horror instead. Well, there you are. Enjoy your psychological horror. And the fact that, like, the game, like, closed with, like, all the buys, and then when you reopened it, you had to, like, start over again, that was cool. That was a jump scare, yeah. Man, I'm such a sucker for that shit, though. I wasn't expecting that. Because, like, it literally has the comedy tag. Or describes itself as a comedy, I think. I don't know anymore. But it's enjoyable. Fun time. I look forward to more of it. I can't wait to let the dev know. It's like, hey, I actually really enjoyed the thingy, so I would love a little stream game key. Yeah. Man, these are good. I love playing good game.